My husband was cheating on me with my sister, and when I found out, everything in my life came crashing down. I don't know where to begin because this is something I never imagined I would be writing, much less experiencing. But here I am, spilling my heart out on the internet because I feel like I have no one left to talk to. I thought I had the perfect life, a loving husband, a close-knit family, and a future full of promise. But one discovery, one horrifying betrayal, has destroyed everything I thought I knew about the people I loved. Let me start from the beginning. I 29F have been married to my husband, Jake 32M, for 5 years. We met through mutual friends, hit it off immediately, and after 2 years of dating, we got married. Jake was everything I ever wanted in a partner. He was charming, kind, supportive, and always made me feel like I was the center of his world. My family adored him, especially my younger sister, Emma 26F. Emma and I had always been close, and when she met Jake, they got along really well. I remember thinking how lucky I was to have a husband who fit so seamlessly into my family. Emma had always been a bit of a free spirit. She was the fun, outgoing one in our family, while I was more reserved and practical. She bounced from one relationship to another, never really settling down, but I never thought much of it. That was just Emma. I had always admired her confidence and the way she lived her life without worrying about what others thought. She would often come over to our house to hang out, and Jake would joke about how she was like his little sister too. Looking back, I guess there were signs that something was off, but at the time, I didn't think much of it. Jake started acting differently about a year ago. He became more distant, often staying late at work or going out with friends more frequently. I chalked it up to the stress of his job, as he had been working on a big project that was consuming a lot of his time. But there were moments when I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. He would get overly defensive when I asked about his late nights, or he would come home smelling like a different cologne, not his usual scent. I tried to convince myself that I was being paranoid. After all, Jake had never given me a reason to doubt him. He had always been so loving and attentive, and I didn't want to be the nagging wife who questioned everything. Besides, we had been planning to start a family soon. I was excited about the future. We had talked about kids, a bigger house, growing old together. But things came crashing down one afternoon about 6 months ago when I found something that changed everything. It was a Saturday, and Jake had gone out to run errands. I was cleaning up around the house when I noticed his laptop on the kitchen counter. He had left it open, and for some reason, I felt an urge to check it. I don't know what came over me because I had never been the type to snoop through his things. Maybe it was my gut instinct telling me that something wasn't right. As I clicked around, my heart started pounding. I noticed an open chat window on his messaging app. My stomach dropped when I saw the name at the top, Emma. My hands shook as I scrolled through the messages, each one more damning than the last. There were flirty exchanges, inside jokes that I wasn't part of, and then, pictures. Explicit pictures. Of Emma. My little sister. I felt sick. The messages made it clear that this had been going on for months, maybe longer. They had been sneaking around behind my back, lying to me, deceiving me in the most intimate way possible. I couldn't believe what I was reading. My husband, the man I thought I would spend the rest of my life with, was having an affair with my own sister. I didn't know what to do. I felt paralyzed with shock and betrayal. I couldn't confront Jake right away because I needed time to process everything. I didn't want to believe it was real. How could they do this to me? How could Emma, my sister, someone I had always trusted and loved, betray me like this? The betrayal from her felt almost worse than from Jake. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I spent the next few days in a haze, barely able to function. I didn't tell anyone, not even my closest friends, because I felt so humiliated. I didn't want to believe that my life had turned into a nightmare. But the more I thought about it, the more everything started to make sense. Jake's sudden distance, Emma's constant presence at our house, the little inside jokes they shared that I had always brushed off as innocent sibling-like banter. I decided that I needed to confront them. I couldn't keep living with this secret, pretending everything was fine while they continued to lie to me. So, one night, when Jake came home from work, I sat him down and told him I knew everything. At first, he tried to deny it, but when I showed him the messages I had found, his face went pale. He knew he was caught. The conversation that followed was one of the worst moments of my life. He admitted to the affair, saying that it had just happened and that he didn't mean to hurt me. He said all the things cheaters say when they're caught. He was confused, he still loved me, it was a mistake. But I couldn't believe a word of it. How could he do this to me, to us, to our marriage? And then came the hardest part, confronting Emma. I called her the next day and told her we needed to talk. She came over, acting like nothing was wrong, like she hadn't just destroyed my life. When I told her I knew about the affair, she burst into tears, begging for my forgiveness. She said she never meant for it to go this far, that she was lonely, that she had always been jealous of my relationship with Jake. It was like a punch to the gut. Hearing those words from her, my sister, the person I had grown up with, the person I had always loved and trusted, was almost unbearable. She had been jealous of me, and instead of talking to me about it, she had decided to sleep with my husband. I couldn't believe the level of betrayal. I told both of them that I was done. I packed a bag and left the house that night, staying with a friend while I figured out what to do next. Over the next few weeks, I filed for divorce and cut off all contact with both Jake and Emma. I couldn't bear to be around them. I couldn't even talk to my parents about it because I didn't want to cause more drama within the family, but eventually, the truth came out. My parents were devastated. They couldn't believe that Emma had done something so horrible, and while they tried to be there for both of us, I could tell they were struggling to figure out how to navigate the situation. I didn't blame them. I knew they were in an impossible position. But the pain of losing not just my marriage, but also my sister, was too much to bear. It has been 6 months since I found out about the affair, and I am still trying to pick up the pieces of my life. Some days, I feel like I am moving forward, but other days, the pain feels as fresh as it did the day I found those messages. I am in therapy now, trying to work through my feelings of betrayal and loss, but it's a long process. I don't know if I will ever fully recover from this. As for Jake and Emma, they are still together. I heard through mutual friends that they are officially a couple now, which honestly makes me sick to my stomach. I don't know how they can live with themselves, knowing the pain they caused me, but I guess they have made their choice. I am trying to focus on myself and move on, but it is hard. Everywhere I go, I feel like I am haunted by the memories of my past life. What could have been, what should have been. There are days when I wake up and wonder how everything went so wrong. How could the two people I trusted most in the world do something so cruel? My parents have been trying to stay neutral, but I can tell it has torn them apart. My mom, especially, has had a hard time accepting what Emma did. She tries to check in on me, but I can tell she is heartbroken over the fact that her 2 daughters are no longer speaking. She will never admit it, but I think she is angrier at Emma than she lets on. She has mentioned a few times that Emma has been distant from the family since the truth came out, and part of me wonders if my sister regrets what she did. But I haven't reached out to her, and I don't plan to. I am not sure I will ever be able to forgive her. There are moments when I find myself reliving everything that happened the day I found the messages, the confrontation with Jake, the look on Emma's face when I called her out. It is like a never-ending nightmare. Sometimes, I wonder if I made the right decision by walking away from them both. Should I have fought harder for my marriage? Should I have confronted the situation in a different way? But then I remind myself that there is no coming back from this level of betrayal. Trust, once broken, can never be fully repaired. One of the hardest parts of all this is the loneliness. I have always been close to my family, and now it feels like I am adrift, isolated from the people I once leaned on for support. My friends have been great, but it is not the same as having your family by your side. I never imagined that something like this would happen to me. You hear stories about cheating and betrayal, but you never think it will be your reality. And when it is, the shock is overwhelming. Recently, I have been thinking about leaving town for a while. Maybe a fresh start in a new city will help me heal. I have a friend who lives out of state and has been offering to let me stay with her for a few months. I am seriously considering it. I think getting away from the place where everything fell apart might give me some perspective. I need space to rebuild my life without constantly being reminded of the people who hurt me. One thing I know for sure is that I will never let anyone treat me like this again. I have learned some hard lessons about trust, loyalty, and boundaries. It is going to take time, but I believe I can heal from this. I don't know what the future holds, but I am determined to come out stronger on the other side. Even if it feels impossible some days, I keep reminding myself that I deserve better than the life I had with Jake and Emma. As for them, I don't know if they will last. Part of me hopes they don't, not out of spite, but because I don't think any relationship built on lies and betrayal can stand the test of time. But honestly, I don't care anymore. They are no longer a part of my life, and that is how it has to be. For now, I am focusing on taking things one day at a time, working through the pain, and rebuilding my sense of self-worth. It is going to be a long journey, but I have faith that I will get through it.